Thanks. Thank you for having me. The Dayton Poetry Slam has been a staple in my young adolescence. I started coming when it was at Canal Public Tavern, I guess is what it was called at the time. But it was a name. And yeah, and I remember listening to poets being like, oh my gosh, I think it would be so cool if I could do that someday. Like if I could write like that. Like I know I can't now, but I hope someday I can get there. And now, at 30, I have 2 published books of poetry, which I'm very proud of. Whoa. Yeah, every time I clear my throat, I think of Dear Maria, Count Me In. Like, yeah, emo kids rise. But I decided to read my most controversial poem in my new book coming out called Eden. That I got this idea for this book to kind of bait Christians to get them to unpack a little bit. So I was like, you know what? Let's have a book and call it Eden. And they're like, oh my gosh, I read that word in the Bible once. So like they'll pick it up and then we're going to be like, ooh, gotcha. You can pre-order it on Kindle, and it will come out on August 13th. So you can officially buy it on Amazon, and I'm so excited and proud of it. So without further ado, this poem is called Sacrilegious Jesus. I met God in a local dive bar. He ordered us drinks and calmly said, ask anything. I stare down at my drink and reply, why did you make this so damn hard? The truth should be simple, not guarded with circular reasoning. And the church cherry-picks sins like they're always in season, just to rectify their actions in your name, as if that isn't more blasphemous than when people say, God damn. And I'm so sick of my beauty being a double-edged sword that gives me confidence yet makes my brothers stumble, and somehow that's my fault. I can't resemble a woman who doesn't exist in Proverbs 31. Your children were my biggest bullies, and I never felt more out of place than listening to a preacher tell me my mental illness is a product of fickle faith. And is compassion really worth the suffering? Genocide that is okay because it's Israel. Children with cancer and racial injustices that are still plaguing minorities for over centuries now. I cringe every time a white woman tries to relate to a black woman's pain. I miss when Christianity was a liberation for the oppressed. And when I bring it up, people say it doesn't collide well with American politics. Then keep religion out of them entirely. Blood seeps into an earth with people who claim they are growing, but blood and water are not the same. If Christ could see us now, would he have really gotten on that cross? My faith may have gotten lost with translations of a word that claims to be absolute, but it doesn't mean it's nowhere to be found. When I looked up, my drink and God were both gone, which made me ponder if they were ever there at all. Thank you. That bitch. So I'm so happy because in this poetry book, I actually made a table of contents, which was such a bitch to do, but in this moment, I'm so happy about it. Because the next poem I'm going to read is one of my favorites, and it's called Daydream Lottery. And it's this idea of when you like someone a lot, you like them like this much, but they only like you this much, and you like try to date, and when it inevitably doesn't work out, they get over it faster than you do because you had more of a liking for them, which doesn't make them evil. It doesn't make them bad, but it doesn't make it any less easy to deal with the limerence that you kind of are stuck with at the end of it. So, like I said, this poem is called Daydream Lottery, and it's what I use to cope getting over someone. So, your hand started to make its way up my thigh under the table, and I leaned in to whisper, "There's kids here." You just replied, "That's how they get here." It made me laugh, which in turn made me smitten. When I asked you about the last time you danced, you got uncomfortable. So I reached for your hand and put on the song Golden while we twirled around your kitchen. When the song ended, I stated, "See, that wasn't so bad. The next time you dance with somebody, you can remember the last time was with me, and it won't be so intimidating." I pulled away, but you pulled me in, and you looked at me like we weren't just friends, but we were. I watch you bring pretty girls to the parties we attend. They aren't me, but like me enough, so I don't say anything. And some days this red thread of ours starts to fray, and I don't know whose fear is responsible, but it keeps me up at night all the same. So I go out to the district on weekends and accept compliments from strangers, play pretend they're from you, so those words can still hold value. When I dance, I think about us in the kitchen. Even though the disco ball is better than your kitchen light, I am still sad at the thought I'm not even on your mind. I want you to want me, and you do, just not enough. So I'll continue to be your favorite toy on the shelf until someone else fills up your heart enough and there's no room left for me. Thank you.